Hi there, and thank you for clicking on this video. Um, it was requested in the comments. I wasn't able to find it, but somebody asked about electricity ticks on with a deadhead multiplier. So we're just going to do a simple test, and we're going to do the math on it and see what's going on. Word of warning: there is a bug math-wise, and to be honest, because of how long it's been in the game, um, it's probably intentional. Since the AoE nerf to headshots, this might have been something that got hit by accident. Or maybe the electricity one was intentional, but apparently gas has one also. But I haven't confirmed that, but it's definitely on the forums. Anyway, so we've picked the ambassador. Reason being, uh, it was a recent weapon that we covered. The question, I believe, was asked about the Quanta Vandal, but we're going to be doing the Ambassador purely for the fact that there's no innate multi-shot. The crit chance is really low, and it is a pure electric weapon, like the Quanta. And the status chance is high enough that it's not going to be annoying trying to hit stuff, and there's no risk of triggering 2 or 3 at once, like with the Quanta, because of the multi-shot. So we have Serration for base damage, that's going to be important. Rifle aptitude to increase the status chance, obviously, because this is a dot test. Brings us to a 1 in 2 chance. Vial precision is here simply to make getting a single shot off easier. The ambassador is all about, like, the weapon recoil doesn't matter. The ambassador, like the flex rifle, is all about you click on a pixel, you hit a pixel sort of thing. So we have electricity. 63.6 is our modded raw damage. So our only source of damage increase as of right now is Serration, and we're going to get some data. Quick little test. We are always going to do our tests on Eximus units. Reason being is they possess Overguard, and Overguard has no elemental resistances or bonuses besides void damage. So if we're supposed to be doing 63.6 damage, when we hit Overguard, we're going to do 63.6 damage, and it might round to 64. So, alright, let's get our notepad up, which I got right here. 191. The dots are 96. Alright, fair enough. Just so everybody following along. So our base damage is 63.6. We are getting a headshot multiplier. And 190.8 is rounding to 191. So that's where the 191 came from. And we'll calculate our dot later, but just so everybody knows, that's where it is. Deadhead. We are not going to be getting stacks. The only thing that we are testing is the headshot multiplier. So additional 30%. Go ahead and kill those guys. Load in 2 more. Okay, so 2 Leech Eximus. We're going to get data on the main hit. And if it triggers an electric status, the Tesla coil, we will then get the number on both of them, because I suspect it's going to be different. And we are not doing crits. We want white damage this time, because the only thing we're looking for is a yes/no on whether Deadhead applies. So that one was a crit. We're not checking that one. We're going to wait for the status to fall off. 6 seconds. 248, no status effect. 248, no status effect. 248 got a status effect. Okay, it's 162 on the main one, 125 on the second. Alright, easy enough. Alright, so let's go ahead. We've got our data. We are going to do this step by step. because I want you all to be able to do this also. We're going to check the wiki. We're going to bring it up nice and easy. There's no spreadsheets, Excel sheets, or anything like that this time. Going to bring that out. Got our calculator, got our data. We're set. Okay, so the thing that we're looking for is this equation for the electric tick. Requires two equations. The order doesn't matter too much. They matter in how you mod them, but everything ends up getting multiplied together. So say, for example, you're using faction damage. If you just want to square that, as long as you account for it, it's all multiplied together, right? Okay, so our modded base damage is going to be 63.6, and that's base damage and +1 base damage bonus, just to see exactly where that's coming from. All right, 63.6. So 24 plus 165%, 63.6. That's our white number. Just so we're clear. All right, there's that. There's our data. Okay, so 63.6, using this equation, base damage is the 24 times 1 plus base damage bonus. That's our serration, so plus 165. 1 plus 1.65 is 265. Or 2.65. You multiply by 24. Up here we did 39.6 plus 165, 165%. But if you were to do 24 times 1 plus 165%, it would be 2.65, and it's the same number. Okay, so this number is 63.6. We have no faction mods on, so this is times 1. Because it's just 100% of our damage, there's no increase. So 63.6 is our modded base damage. Now we need to run the equation for the electricity proc damage per tick. That's going to be 0.5 times our modded base damage, which is going to be 63.6, times 1 plus the electricity damage bonus. We have no elemental mods. The electricity damage bonus is going to be your Rivens with electricity weighting. It's going to be your 90 electricity mods. It's going to be your 60/60s. And I guess for melee, it would be your heavy attack efficiency and electricity mod as well would also count on this. But we don't have any, so it's times 1 times our faction damage bonuses. We have no faction damage bonuses, so it's just times 1. But we do have an additional multiplier, and that's headshot damage. And this is to check the base one. Right here, the additional multiplier, times 3, we are going to additively increase our 3 times headshot multiplier with the deadhead bonus. So that's where this is going. And on modded base damage, and the same thing, we're going to add deadhead here also. And they even give you an example equation. So if you wanted to follow along in your own, if you're wondering where I'm getting these equations from, they even give you an example. Or sorry, we're going to be adding the deadhead to the first one, and we'll see where that gets us, which is 63.6. That's what this means. And then we're going to run our equation for the dot is 0.5 times 63.6. Just to say the whole thing, times 1 times 1 times 3. Wouldn't you know it, the white damage without deadhead calculates as 95.4. We're getting 96. That's a-okay with me. It rounds up. So this is good. We'll do a little V for a check. All right, now we're going to check the deadhead multiplier. So 63.6. We're going to go back and adjust this first equation because deadhead applies on raw damage, like damage dealt directly, right? So it's going to be 63.6 times, and we're adding this, however you want to mentally do it, as like a faction damage, but to headshots specifically. So we're going to times it by 1.3. And the equation that we're doing is it's 1 plus 0.3. If it was a headshot with a faction damage, it would be another multiplier, right? But we don't have any factions, so 107. Sorry, I just added it twice. Hold on. 63.6 times 1.3. Okay, so 82.69 is our deadhead. So in our equation down at the bottom, we're going to substitute that out. Obviously, this is tedious, but spreadsheets help. And then we're just going to run our equation again. 0.5 times 82.68 times 1 times our headshot bonus. Okay, 124. Which surprisingly is actually the AoE damage. So let's see if 162 is an additional 30% for the faction damage, because we haven't added that in yet. Remember, we did it times 3, so we're going to do plus 30%. And there's our 162. It's rounded up, though. Okay, so we know the difference between 125 and 162 is, give or take, a deadhead bonus not applying. Now, because all of this is multiplied together, it's really hard to tell where the hell this 30% is coming from, but we can use a little bit of logic to figure it out. Due to the nature of like the surrounding environment, if you will. Not like this, but I mean like in terms of like Warframe patching stuff. The AoE nerf came in. And the fact is that AoEs have a headshot bonus of 1x. And if this is intentional, it's not really too big of a deal for electricity because you can boost elemental mods. You can boost the damage with elemental mods, right? But this hurts gas a lot if this is intentional. But the headshot bonus is not applying, so you sort of have to figure out like the logic behind it. The Tesla coil applies an AoE from the source, right? So this is getting the double headshot bonus, or the double deadhead increase, right? And this is just sort of standing there. And if they don't allow headshots on AoEs anymore, then the AoE tick would be the one missing the 30%. But because the base damage is increased by the 30% bonus from deadhead, the AoE effectively gets one of the deadhead increases. So whoever asked that, that's a good question. The only real critique in terms of testing is I would say make sure to use overguard if you weren't, overguarded enemies if you weren't. I like the little butchers. They're super small. You want to burn through them. They don't have a ton of, a ton of EHP. And if you want to test gas and like test math and actually see numbers work out exactly without having to do like a damage mitigation or damage multiplier equations and like going through the whole quanta thing, skip the entire thing, use overguarded enemies. The numbers work out. Like, if you do the math and it's like, oh, you're supposed to be doing 147 damage. If you shoot something with overguard, you're going to be doing 147 damage. So, for testing and figuring stuff out, make sure to use overguarded enemies. Whatever your preferred choice is. But, anyway, can confirm electricity on the direct hit target gets both of the deadhead bonuses. The any enemy caught in the AoE benefits from the damage increase from one of the deadheads, but is, my guess, probably missing the deadhead damage increase on the tick on the AoE. Probably because of that headshot AoE nerf. If it's intentional, that's probably where they nerfed it at, right? So anyway, Thank you for watching. Lots of math today. But hey, 15-minute video and not a huge ass rant, right? Anyway, stay excellent, my dudes. Take it easy. Have a blessed day.